welcome back to another episode of the Model Train Outsider. No 2015 today. Basically, I couldn't come up with a good Joker scene and just wanted to get into this today. Or the joke is that because he's always inside my head, he hasn't been practicing social distancing, and thus he's been banned from the show. Go with whatever works for you. Today, a couple of things about the layout. Nothing major in progress, but I want to show you that I've been going with the Faller car system. Now, Graham at Lakeside Junction did a beautiful job installing his. A couple other people, there are dozens of videos out there on how to do it. If you've never run into it, let me give you a very quick rundown of the Faller car system. The Faller car system allows you to have moving vehicles on your layout. Now, there are other companies that do this. There is a Dutch company called Magnorail, or are they Belgian? The Dutch side of Belgium, but now Magnorail basically uses the equivalent of a bicycle chain with magnets in it, and you just create a groove. And Everard Junction did a video on it a year or so ago, and you can go check his page and look it up if you're into Magnorail. Magnorail and Faller are both fantastic systems. There's also another Dutch company system out there. I forget it. Faller is the German one, and Faller is probably the most famous one. All of them have pros and cons, and I'm not here to sell you on one or the other. Magnorail, if you just want cars moving in a square or a circle and just moving, it's cheaper in the long run. The startup price is about the same between Magnorail and Faller. It's the down the road cost between Magnorail and Faller where Faller really gets much more expensive. Because Magnorail, the other advantage of Magnorail is it allows you to make any of your cars work. They sell little guide plates that you stick in under any of your HO, OO, or even N-scale vehicles, and they just follow the magnet chain through whatever course you laid out for it. And it's fantastic if you are cool with having just moving traffic, because the downside of Magnorail, so positive is cost, and any car can use it. Downside is it's just cars moving. And that's not a downside, okay? That's really not a downside. But you can't have any, like, traffic flow. With Magnorail, you can't have cars stopping at stoplights. So it becomes a question of realism. So when you look at Magnorail, just that's the only negative. And again, I don't like to use that word negative because Magnorail is an awesome system, and any one of your cars. Faller, you can't use just any car. You have to use one of their motorized cars, or if you have certain types of vehicles, they sell chassis that you can clip other models' shells onto the chassis. Also, Faller has yet to develop small enough motors and that you can actually run cars. You have to run vans, caravans, semi-trucks, bigger vehicles. You cannot get the average car running around your system. It always has to be a larger vehicle. Now, the people in Miniature Wonderland took the Faller car system and designed it, and now they use they have mobile cars on their layout as well, but they have yet to, I don't know if it's a licensing issue with Faller or what, but between the two of them, they have found a way to do cars. Anyhow, so you have to use their vehicles or at least their chassis. But Faller allows you to create stops and have cars stop at lights, or change lanes, or have buses pull into bus areas and pick up, drop off people, and then pull back out. Faller allows cars to go into parking areas and park and then pull back out and pull out again. So the long run is down there. Plus, if you really spend the money, you can buy the Faller Wi-Fi system where you put a bunch of sensors around your layout, and it reads a little infrared signal in the car, and it will tell the car to stop here as you program it. It'll tell the car, so you can really create a traffic flow. Well, I'm not into that. What I have is, I have a very static layout. Well, I don't even have a layout yet. I have my train station, and if you watched a recent video, I finally finished the bus station. Well, the goal is I want buses to, and some vehicles running the road in the train station area, but I want buses to be able to come into the bus terminal, pull in, pull out, and then go back out to the main traffic. And so the Magnorail system wasn't going to work. The Faller car system was a better fit for me personally. And again, they are equal. It's just, what do you want? So I'm not here to say don't buy Magnorail, buy Faller. Now, in the end, Faller is a very basic system. Let me grab a couple of things here. The basic Faller system is a wire. So really, you could home make your own Faller system, maybe cheaper than Faller does it. But it's a wire, a metal wire. And it is a vehicle. Now, first of all, the outside of the vehicle will have this little, let me get this in front of the camera. Where are you? Come on, work for me. Are we gonna focus on it now? I think it's starting to focus. And now you have a little ski. Those of you who know Miraklin vehicles like me, we're used to a ski on a vehicle, right? Miraklin has that third rail ski on it. All right, inside, and these come apart, is the big deal. You have a little drive motor and batteries. And if you've watched Graham, he's torn one apart and altered it and done some things with it. And that's it. When you turn this on, there's a little switch to turn it on, and there's a circuit board. It does two things. It makes the magnet work. Actually, the magnet works even without the power on. I don't know if you can see that grabbing. And then the motor drives the rear wheels of the vehicle. And so you lay the wire out in whatever course you want to lay it, and when you turn the motor on, set it down on the guide wire, and it will follow the wire. So you can do this with any sort of road system you want to put in. For example, if you are going to do a plaster-based road where you just put a little bit of Sculptamold or plaster of Paris to make your road, you just set it in, and before it dries, lay the wire in and keep it, you know, a 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch below the surface. You can't go too high on it. They're not that strong a magnet on the car. So keep it thin, but you can bury the wire, cover it up, paint over it so it does not show up. And then your car will follow that guide. But if you do just that basic, that's all you need. The wire and the electromagnetic motor. And even the microchip does a couple of things in here, but some of that is more advanced stuff. There are sensors in the microchip that come into play with other things. Okay, so it's that simple. However, okay, had an interruption there, so I'm back. Anyhow, there's two ways you can do the Faller, as I was saying. You can build it your own way, and that just makes it really easy to customize roads and paths, make winding roads if you want. The other side, for either lazy or not as talented people in fine scale woodworking and so forth, is Faller makes laser cut roads. And I'll try to hold this up here, and You can buy these separately. Even in a starter set, they do not give you the road. If you want the road, you have to buy them separately. In the starter set, you basically get the vehicle, the wiring, the paint. They actually give you paint for road coloring. They give you road signage and street markings and everything and all that. They give you a lot. But you get these laser cut roads. And in the middle is a little groove, and you put the wire in the groove, and you just join these together like jigsaw puzzles. So here's a curve, and you see they're just slotted to fit each other. And curves are designed with the wire, I don't know if you can see that, on both sides, so that you can run the curve one way or the other. So makes it easy. And you just basically put this in, you put the wire in, and then you coat this with a thin coat. You can use skim coat from your home construction things, or they give you a bag of basically Sculptamold, and you just put a thin coat. It covers over the groove in the wire, and it fills in any gaps and holes. Now, on some of these pieces of track, you will see holes. Let me get this one out. These holes come in many of these tracks pre-cut, and these are directional change places. And you buy a little motor, and they have a little cap here that you'll run the wiring in, and then this motor changes polarity. And what happens is it basically tells the car, it forces the car to follow the other wire line. So like here, I don't know how well you can see that, but you can see it goes into this gap, and there'd be a piece that fits in the groove here, and then the motor connects to it underneath. The motor would connect, but there's a little piece here that almost looks like a manhole cover, but it has two wires to go both straight and off. And you take this motor, and you notice there's wires to it, and coming in this came in my bus stop kit. You run this to this, and then this to your power source, and then you have an on-off switch. And when you flip the on switch, ta-da, the car takes the turn off instead of going straight. If you're doing a bus stop, you get an additional motor, little servo. And this is interesting. This little stop motor basically sends a magnetic signal that turns off the motor for a period of time on the bus. I just got the shell here. Let's put it back together. And so this sends a signal. You put this under the track, you put this motor under the track, and it sends a signal to the motor inside here, and it basically shuts the motor down. It blocks the magnetic or electronic signal from the motor to the drive, and it does it for 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Some of the motors actually allow you to time exactly how long it works. And again, Graham Folston at Lakeside Junction did a tremendous, exquisite piece of work on his page where he's been showing how he installed this. Now, he didn't use the track, he just built his own road and put the wiring in, and bought the chassis and and converted his buses. But this one sends a magnetic signal. When you activate it, it sends a magnetic signal. There's also two sensors that go with it that you have to put in the track. That's why you see all the holes in these tracks. They have little places where sensors would go for you to do things. The sensors read the chip, send the information to the motor, which you then control however you're going to control it, digitally or analog with a switch. So this is nice, and you can do all sorts of cool things with this if you want to use the road system. But for now, it's just getting the road system in. But putting that road system in is becoming a little bit problematic. I have a couple of issues I have to sort out. So here's a video I did explaining those problems. So here is a rough layout, but before I go any further, let me put up a satellite image of what I'm trying to create, and I'll put some markers on the satellite image. So you have the train station and the bus station. Right in front of the train station is a one-way lane of traffic. It's 2 lanes, but it's one way. Technically, it's heading west. And then, probably the length of a long football field, maybe a football field and a half, is another lane of traffic going the other direction, traveling east, roughly east. And in between is a pedestrian walkway, the bus station, and then the train station as well. Now, the bus station itself has 2 exits and 2 entrances. And the buses all have to also travel in one way. So on this satellite image, you'll see there are a couple of badly drawn yellow lines showing you the entrances and then the route they would go through the bus depot. And in green are the 2 exits. And I'm trying to recreate that, except I may only have 1 entrance and 1 exit. That's one of the things I'm trying to decide, because now let's come back to the reality I have. Now, as I explained in a previous film set on this video, Faller comes in 2 ways. You can just use the wire and make your own road, or you can buy their pre-made pieces. I opt to go with pre-made pieces because this is all on a styrofoam insulation, a foam insulation board, and the wire would not do well in that situation. Now, if this were a wood table or whatever, then I would do a plaster road and just put the wire in, as I explained earlier. So here are just some of the issues I have. First of all, I need to condense. I cannot make the entire town or this section of Delmenhorst from the city hall, which would be off to the right, that way. The city hall, there's actually 3 blocks of buildings on 3 streets that all, if you look at the satellite image, you can see the 3 streets. 2 of them are pedestrian-only streets. But 3 streets basically converge on this this first road here. But to condense, I can't make 3 blocks. I can't even make 1 full one. So I'm going to have the town hall, the market square, and then the main shopping street called Langestrasse. And then instead of 3 blocks, I'll basically have 1 block or 2 abbreviated blocks, and just highlight some of the main buildings that would be in there. So that's going to be really tricky. For those of you who pay attention to my train runnings, this village is only pseudo aligned the way Delmenhorst is. I do try to put the main driving road that comes in right here, and then the 2 pedestrian roads, including Bahnhofstrasse, the main street that's right here, that leads straight into the station. But this would be the equivalent of 1 block. But I don't have Langestrasse, and I don't have the market square, which the town hall and the market square would go here. So the issue I have is, if I just have the buses running in circle with their little bus stop trick they have, that would be fine, except all my buses would do is go in a circle around the bus depot and then pull in every now and then. Then all I would have to do is make 1 custom piece here and down there to join these 2 sets together, and it'd be all good. And then I would just have regular traffic running the wider circuit, and this represents those 2 streets. And again, to condense, I'm going to go from 2 lanes, which is the reality, to 1 lane traffic here. Just, it gives me room over here. So let me move this. And so in reality, this is 2 lanes. I'm going to make it 1 lane, but I want to have my buses able to divert off and enter the bus loop, which is here, and there's no easy way to do that. I have to try to customize a piece that would get the buses from this lane into here, where they would then go around the circle to pull into the 2 bus stops that will be active bus stops. So this lane would be heading towards the camera. This lane over here heads away from the camera, and then I have to get, this one would be easier, is to get a bus from this lane over here. Now I could just say to heck with it and just have all buses entering from here in and ignore trying to get the entrance here. But there are 2 entrances and 2 exits, and I'll put that map up again so you can see what I'm talking about. And if I can, I'd like to be able to do both. Now way down at the end, I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to raise this up a bit. There is just some trees I threw on there to have a scene down there. That will all open up into the road. But then I will do some condensing where there's a wide area between this road and here, with a little kebab shop and a large parking area and a little park that has the maypole. And then on that side is the bus station. There's a little old building here that's been turned into a gambling casino and video game, Spielotech they call them in Germany. Little gambling places, slot machine type places. But anyhow, so I will condense all that, make those buildings smaller so I can get more space out here for the city area. But I still have to figure out the way to get vehicles from this lane to this one, because the only turns they have are these 45-degree turns, and that's too wide an angle. I really need something. So I bought some wood, and I'm going to try to custom make one of my own pieces. I'll convert one of these straights here and just make a wire line into it, probably down at that end, so the buses would come in. In reality, the buses come in, they go around. Actually, they have to, when they come in, they have to go around that way. The buses here come in down there so that they can get onto the lane and come around here, way down there. And then buses from here, there's a little off branch where they would come in and get into that. So I actually think I could do this with the basic pieces they create. It might be tricky, but I think I can do it. Coming off this curve right here, and set one of the 45-degree angle pieces and see if I can somehow connect it to here. And then that would get the buses. But technically the buses would have to go into this point, because the buses actually run around that way. They run, as you're looking at this, they would run basically clockwise. The buses on this lane run in that way. But then those buses also have to exit to get to the 2 one-way roads to get to the rest of the town. So again, that's probably easier to show you on the actual satellite map than it would be to explain it here with just some track laid down. So that is sort of the dilemma I'm trying to sort out right now. And it comes down to having to make custom pieces. For example, I have to custom make a short piece here. I'll take one of the spare straights I have, cut it in 3 parts so that I can have the end and the tab, the male and the female connection parts, and I'll just fit it into here. So that won't be a problem. That's an easy piece to make. Going from here to here, joining these 2 at both ends, that's going to be a little trickier, because it is a tight angle for the buses. So, but if I do it right, if I maybe bring it out here and make it a softer arc up here, then I think it might work. I just have to make a very custom piece, and that means getting the exact measurements and then making the grooves for the wire. So that is the main dilemma I'm having with the Faller car system. The system itself is great. Fitting it into a custom designed area, not as easy. If I were just doing roads through the city, it's super easy. But because I'm trying to do a very unique thing here, where my buses would come off the main traffic line, get into the bus circle and parking area. And again, the buses would go clockwise. So when they come in reality, they come in from what would basically be over here. They come and go they turn in and go around this way. And then from the other side, the buses would come in from way down there, and then they would go, if you're talking clockwise, they would go around the 12 and then come down this side to get into their parking areas. And I'll have 2 active parking areas. I'll have 4 running buses. No, I'll have 3 running buses, which any 3 of them could pull in. And then, hey, we've got one of the few eye candy scenes that isn't static. I mean, I love my bus station, I love my train station, but they are static. They're not moving. I'm not going to have a lot of fancy scenery or hills, but that does lead to the other idea I'm dealing with. So let's move on to that. Anyhow, one other change that will be coming to the layout is behind me. So let's go look at that. I was going to put the Weser River here, and it was going to be a nice scenic divide. The town of Delmenhorst over here, which is a small suburb. It's a suburb, but it's not a connected suburb of the city of Bremen. So I'd have the Weser River here, the big river that's halfway between Delmenhorst and Bremen. And then over here I'd build my Bremen / Hanover big station. And again, there wasn't going to be mountains or tunnels or anything like that. So the one big scenic break was going to be the river right here. Well, once I put the slope in, it took away the planned river. Well, as I think it and think it and think it, I am really thinking of right here, grab my squared pointer. The ramp ends right here, and then it's just flat all the way across. So I'm thinking from about right here, I know you can't see where the ramp is, it's just on that side of the tree, but is that I am going to remove this track stuff here. I'm going to move these, maybe even just get rid of these turnouts that abut each other, these lane switches here, which are more for just helping circulate the power through the system than doing anything else. Or I will move them further up here, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I will drop, you can see there's a gap here. I'm going to drop this section right here and have 2 bridges. Now, there are 2 rail bridges over the Weser. But the one is a 2-lane and the other one's a single lane. But as you can see here, I have 6 lanes going out, coming back. So again, it won't be reality, it won't be prototype, but maybe I'll try to build something oddly scenic here, but I'm going to have the Weser River. I think I'm going to cut this section out here and just have 2 big bridges. The problem is these curves here, so I have a narrow area here to build the Weser, but the Weser is a rather wide river. But maybe between here and here, I will build the 2 bridges and have the Weser coming in right down here. The problem is that takes away my command center. That takes away, I mean, I can probably still leave this stuff here and just have the river from here back and just dead end it there, put a little block of wood there. But I am going to lose some of this, although you might consider this wasted area anyhow. But that is a new plan. Now, when will I get around to doing that? Probably, literally, not for a year. I can't see myself doing it now over the summer, because once I get that Faller car system in, I'm going to look at getting a 3D printer and start making the main Delmenhorst buildings. So those are the 2 big things. The thing I'm working on, which is trying to get that Faller Road bit there. And then, as I make you dizzy again, I've decided I am going to put a bridge in here. I've already bought the bridging stuff, plus the stuff that I got from Herb to train for my IC3 train, the stuff we traded for. And so those are the 2 big plans, but there's plenty of other little plans that have to go. And maybe I'll actually start feeling like I'm getting a layout. But again, it's just time and getting things to work and making sure I do them right. and then I can start adding some scenics. I will hopefully see you all back for the next video, and hopefully I will have some progress on the Faller car system. I've tested it. I built a little layout on my workbench here, and the cars all work. It all works like it should. I just have to make some custom pieces to finish some things off, but I also got to figure out exactly how I want those custom pieces to work. So I'll say goodbye to everybody. Hope to see you later, and happy trains. Okay, I'm here. Hey everybody. Where is everybody? Aren't we doing a show today? Anyone? Did he do it without me?